I've always wanted to do this, and I just have always talked myself out of it because I'm an information addict. I keep taking the courses, going to the seminars, taking the notes, but I never act on it because I always feel like I need a little bit more before I go. And so this is a promise. This is a promise. And so what happens is the moment we break the promise to ourselves because of being inconsistent, it's tough to ever be consistent again. One of the key things to being consistent is forgiving ourselves.
Wow.
Right? Because you have to ask yourself, how many times have you lied to yourself? And if anyone else lied to you that many times, you wouldn't forgive them. So we lie to ourselves all the time because we're inconsistent with the things we say we're going to do, and we don't forgive ourselves.
And if you can't forgive yourself, how in the world can you expect others to forgive you?
That's exactly right.
You can't ask for forgiveness from others if you haven't started with yourself.
Yeah, you don't even really expect it.
If you're a go-getter, faith-driven, and family-focused, and need to break through to your next level, this is the podcast for you. Your self-talk can reshape every area of your life. It's time to dream and think big. Welcome to the Self-Talk Experience with Darnell and Tracy Self. It's time to elevate, baby. Let's get into the show.
Hey, welcome back.
Self-talk.
It's us again.
The Self-Talk Experience. Welcome. And did you know you can actually start your day off the right way by immediately, like as soon as you wake up, affirming to yourself that this day will be whatever it is. Like affirming, I am this.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
I build big businesses. I attract great people. Like immediately. And it can determine whether you brighten the room or dim the room when you walk in.
Wow. So today we're talking about consistency, right?
Yep.
So if you consistently do that, what a difference that would make.
Yeah.
What a difference that self-talk would make, but it has to be consistent.
Yeah.
You can't do it one day and then not do it the next day, right?
Consistency is tough.
That's a huge deal, and
Yeah.
it's not easy to be consistent in anything.
Yeah.
Self-talk in life, in relationships, with anything.
Yeah.
That's hard.
No, absolutely. And here's the thing about consistency. Consistency says I can be trusted. Consistency is a promise.
Consistency is being regular and being even, right?
Yeah, it's being able, and so it's being able to do something over and over and over again. And that comes from an awareness of a need of something that has to be acted on. Mm-hmm. Let me break that down. Mm-hmm. So if I've made a promise to myself or to you that I'm going to start waking up early to work on me.
Okay.
So an extra 30 minutes because I feel like I'm not growing the way I need to be growing at the pace that I'd like to grow. Mm-hmm. Just in terms of who I'm becoming, right? The leader I'm becoming, the father I'm becoming, the man I'm becoming. So maybe I need to read a book on parenting, read a book on how to build healthy relationships, how to increase my self-esteem, how to restart because I just feel like I need a restart. I'm not where I want to be in life, or how to just start. I've always wanted to do this, and I just have always talked myself out of it because I'm an information addict. I keep taking the courses, going to the seminars, taking the notes, but I never act on it because I always feel like I need a little bit more before I go. And so this is a promise. This is a promise. And so what happens is the moment we break the promise to ourselves because of being inconsistent, it's tough to ever be consistent again. One of the key things to being consistent is forgiving ourselves.
Wow.
Right? Because you have to ask yourself, how many times have you lied to yourself? And if anyone else lied to you that many times, you wouldn't forgive them. So we lie to ourselves all the time because we're inconsistent with the things we say we're going to do, and we don't forgive ourselves.
And if you can't forgive yourself, how in the world can you expect others to forgive you?
That's exactly right.
You can't ask for forgiveness from others if you haven't started with yourself.
Yeah, you don't even really expect it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because you treat other people how to treat you. You treat other people whether they should forgive you or not. And so you want to say something, I can tell.
No, go ahead.
Yeah. So this whole consistency thing, I'm telling you, it for me, it means everything. It means I can tell someone right now that a year from now, you could be at a completely different place if you were just consistent. And here's the reason why I say that. Now, consistent with certain activities, because they're habits, right? In discipline, which helps out with consistency.
Right.
Discipline can break habits and you can start new habits, because breaking a habit can only be done by starting a new habit. A lot of people think I can just stop doing something. Well, if you stop doing something, you replaced it with something. Absolutely. So in order to be consistent, you have to find a specific goal, because it's innate in us. Human nature doesn't want to be consistent. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? It's like, well, I'm not going to do that today. I'll do that tomorrow. And then we switch it up. And if we are consistent, we're consistent in ways that are dictated by laziness.
So if you decide that you want to change something, mm-hmm. you're saying you have to replace it with something else?
That's correct.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Because I remember when I decided I'm not drinking soda anymore. Mm-hmm. Well, now I drink coffee.
Right.
But no, that was just
yeah.
funny,
So typically it's got to be replaced, and
yes.
because these habits, right? We're talking about being consistent. So habits are certain activities done over a period of time, and so you don't think about them anymore because they're habits. These are actions done consistently over a period of time, and so they form habits.
Right.
And so these habits are tricky because we sometimes don't realize we have certain habits.
Well, sometimes people tell you and you're like, I don't do that.
Right.
I don't do that all the time. I don't do that every day.
Right.
You don't even realize you are. Then when you think about it, you say, I really do that.
Right.
They were right.
Yep. Yeah. Yep. They say they go unnoticed until they're too heavy to be broken.
Ooh, wow.
Yeah. They're so light in the beginning, they go unnoticed until they become too heavy to be broken.
Wow.
Right. And it can be broken. It's tough at that point. You formed it. This is who you are. You do this every day.
So how do you get better at consistency?
A couple of different things. One, discipline. I mentioned that. Mm-hmm. Right? Discipline is serious. This is because we were talking about how we teach other people to treat us. Mm-hmm. So discipline brands you. It brands you. Here's what I mean by that. So if I discipline myself, I say, look, Darnell, listen, you are not eating this anymore. You had 30 days.
This is your
self-talk. We're going to do this. This is my self-talk.
Yes.
Right? So I'm disciplining myself. All right. And so I've told myself there is a need for an action. Remember I talked about that's discipline? Mm-hmm. There's a need for an action.
Right.
And I want to do it often. Now, when I start doing something often, watch how this brands me. If I show up late all the time, I'm just known for being late. That branded me. Mm-hmm. If I'm known as a good listener, here's a wonderful thing about a brand. People can try their best to say you're something other than the brand, but because you've already branded yourself by your actions, by your consistency, by your discipline, that people will debate other people because they know that's not typically you. So if I'm a good listener and one day I'm not really listening to you, you know what you're going to say to me?
You never listen to me.
No. If I always listen.
Oh, okay.
If I always listen, and this one day I don't listen, you're going to say, is everything okay, babe?
Oh, yes, because I'm so used to me being.
You expect that I'm a good listener.
Yes.
So you're actually
So I know you're off. It's
right,
something if you're not.
Yeah. Because I branded myself as a good listener. Mm-hmm. If I've never been a good listener, you almost expect for me not to listen. I branded myself as such.
Right. Got it.
You see? And so what happens with this whole discipline thing, it's funny because people walk around and they're branded by others and don't realize it because people already know. They don't even know if they haven't admitted it to themselves, but other people have already branded them as such. Whatever that is. Like, oh, that's workout man right there. Because they branded themselves that they work out all the time. You expect that if they don't work out, you're like, you good? Haven't seen you at the gym.
Right.
So this is what I'm saying. Whatever we do consistently, and I'm going to talk about how we do this because this has allowed me to become better in every area of my life. Discipline. And so one, you have to ask ourselves, what's the goal? Right? What's the goal? Why is it that you want to be consistent in that?
Right.
Have accountability that helps us to become consistent. Right? Someone who reminds you, because this is not a habit yet. And whatever you're looking to become consistent in, and you're inconsistent at this point, which is the reason why you want to become consistent at it. It's like, I'm not eating right. I'm not doing what I need to do to get to 7 figures.
Right.
So if you already knew that and you could hold yourself accountable and we were disciplined enough, we'd be doing it.
Right.
So somebody's got to be there who you trust.
And do you ask that person, hey, this is my goal. Can you be my person?
Yes, you can. I would typically say one, you got to add value to that relationship too.
Absolutely.
Right. So it's just, a healthy relationship, there's value being added from it. It's not just a take. So yes, but because that person may say, oh my gosh, I want to do that too. I want to lose weight too. I want to earn 7 figures too. I want to, whatever that is.
But that was good for you because you had a goal to lose 50 pounds by age 50.
Correct.
You started at the top of the year in January. Your birthday's in December. And you were disciplined. That was your goal. You were consistent. But you had a workout partner that wanted the same thing, so it was good. Person behind the camera. You did it together.
Right.
So even the days that I said, I'm not working out, it was okay because you still had your person that held you accountable.
That's correct. Yeah. So that accountability is going to be key. And then to set up benchmarks, right? Small opportunities to have small wins along the way. Remember I said that consistency is about a promise?
Yes.
Right? It spells dependability. And so
that's good.
If we have benchmarks that we've set, it gives you an opportunity to say, where are we? Right? Because you can measure it, right? And so you say, oh my gosh, we've already done this. Yeah, but if it's too far out, people become inconsistent because they cannot see that it's leading to this end goal.
Right.
Right? So if it is 90 days, then maybe every 30 days. There's a check-in. Maybe it's every week, but there has to be some check-ins before the end goal, right? So because one, when you're looking to become consistent at something, you won't be perfect in the act of even being consistent. So people are looking for results in their consistency too early. So what happens is that if I'm being consistent and I feel like it's not working, then I become inconsistent because I feel like it's not worth it to be consistent. So I break the promise to myself. And when I break the promise to myself, as I mentioned earlier, it's hard to ever be consistent again in that same thing because I've already told myself I can't trust me. Consistency is a pathway to trust. Right? So you trust me to be a good listener. In the moment I'm not, you're like, well, that's okay. It was a bad day. Good habits can actually have bad days.
Wow.
But people that have bad habits aren't really allowed to have good days because people continue to call them out on who they used to be, even if they're not that person, because they're so used to being branded as a person with that bad habit.
But how do you change that? How do you get someone to look at you differently?
Yeah.
That's a huge deal.
In time. It has to be earned. It has to be earned, right? Because remember, we're talking about trust. Consistency is a pathway to trust, which opens up doors of opportunity. People used to say to me all the time, you still doing that thing? So it wasn't until I was consistent that they realized he's gonna still be doing that thing. He is not stopping.
Because every time they asked, the answer was yes.
Right.
It wasn't, well, kinda, I'm thinking about quitting. It was always affirmative.
Yep. Yep. When you're consistent in certain things, like I'm consistent in talking about us and love and marriage. So people aren't gonna say, so you still with her? Sometimes you don't know when you see one person, you want to say, so how's wifey? But you kind of don't want to say it just in case because then it's awkward. It's like,
sure. You
know what I mean? So you got to be consistent in it. So we got to take a sponsor break. We're going to come back because I should ask you something on consistency.
Okay.
We'll be back. Hey, what's up, fam? You got to connect with J&E Builders. They buy homes in any condition. J&E Builders even help out with distressed properties. And if you're dealing with a significant amount of taxes, J&E Builders will assist you with that home as well. Give them a hit at J&E_builders. That's at Instagram at J&E_builders.
Hey family, make sure you're following my girl Brianna on Instagram at Belux Boutique or to shop for date night or just lounging in the house. She has everything you need. As you can see, go to her website, belux.shop, and get you some great pieces today.
So author and trainer Monty Sanders has been in this health and wellness space for over 20 years. His most notable clients are NFL Hall of Famers Ray Lewis and Ed Reed. And guess what? He's got an Amazon best-selling book that you can gain access to right now. It's The Power of You versus You. I'm going to tell you right now how you can get access to that and his other programs. All you have to do is go to thepowerofyouversusyou.com. That's it. Thepowerofyouversusyou.com to get access to that amazing book as well as all of his other programs. Hey, what's up, Self-Talk Experience family? Listen, I thought I was going to get some bathrooms renovated, but I had no idea when I connected with my man, Stan Neal, that it would be more than a renovation. I'm not even sure what the term should be. Maybe transformation, because I started with the bathrooms and all of a sudden my entire basement was redone in a way that my family members thought I moved. Seriously. So if you're looking to take your house to the next level, whether it's some custom construction, some transformation of your bedroom, your bathrooms, your family room, your great room, I did it all. I mean, if I showed you my entire house before and after pictures, in fact, I'm going to show you some, you would say, no way is that the same room or the same house. Listen, I'm just saying this because I've got personal experience with this gentleman. So you want to connect with him, I'm going to give you the number, his office number to reach him, as well as email. And again, you will not be disappointed. So if you want to reach him via his office number, 202-359-3923. Again, 202-359-3923. And email is Stan, Stan.nealjr, Nealjr, at freshairllc.com. Connect with my man Stan. You won't be disappointed. We're back. Self-Talk Experience crew.
Self-talk.
Hey, so look, consistency.
Yes.
Right? This thing right here can lead people to any area of their life that they want to see an enhancement, an improvement in. Anything. Literally. Well, as long as it's realistic. Like, sure. I'm 6'1". Yes. I'm not going to be 6'5". I don't care how much I hang myself upside down, inverted, all this stuff, stretch myself. It's just, so as long, a goal has to be realistic.
Sure.
That's what I mean by it. So as long as it's attainable and realistic, absolutely. Consistency can take you there. So you asked me a question earlier, or you made a comment, and it was about how do you cause people to see you as a person you now are, not the person you used to be? I mean, you said something like that. I'm paraphrasing.
Yes.
So if they only know you for consistently being one person, in this case, this is tough. It's a look in the mirror and say, maybe I am that person, right? Or was that person.
Right.
So now if they have not seen a different you consistently enough, they don't know that you are a new you. They saw this activity consistently. They have not seen this new activity consistently. So if they only, especially if seasons change, right? So if you're around this person all the time when you were consistently doing one thing, and then when you start consistently doing something different, they are not around. They don't know that you become that person because they're not around you in this season as much as they used to be around you in the other season.
Well, that was my question. How do you show it? When you know you've addressed it, you've looked in the mirror, I want to change. I don't want to do whatever it is anymore. I don't want to be branded this way anymore. And you do make the change.
Right.
And you're not in that same season. How do you get that message out?
Yeah, well, okay. So first of all, are you trying to get it out or are you trying to get to a person? Because if you're trying to get to a person, their perception is a reflection of their own reality. It has nothing to do with you. Right? It's where they choose to see you. So I would be careful trying to make a person see that I'm different when you know you are and everything you do is different.
Right.
Right? They're choosing to see you as the person you used to be.
Right.
For a lot of different reasons. That could be a ton of factors,
That's
right? Because some people are hurt by you, hurt by them, hurt by something similar.
Right.
Right? So they're in a place where they have not healed and you have. So because they have not, and this is, again, a lot of factors here, but if someone you were in a season with, and that same season was a season of struggle, and that's where you had, the relationship was built because that similarity was there.
Right.
You are no longer that person and refuse to live in that, and they choose to stay in that. it is hard for them to decide to see you as someone different. In fact, they almost hate to see you as someone different because they choose to stay in the hurt, not in the healing.
Wow.
So that's why it's hard to prove to someone, show someone. Your sister and I just had this conversation. Wow. She read a book and shared something similar to that with me. So it was huge. It was an eye opener for me.
It's a lot to think about.
Yeah.
So I never thought about it in that way.
So I got a question for you.
Sure.
Don't think you escaped my question, Tracy Self.
I never want to escape your question. I live for your questions.
Okay.
I do.
Here's the question. When we got married, you have no idea what I'm about to say.
Oh my gosh.
So when we got married, you didn't like to work out at all. In fact, you would say things like, I don't sweat.
No, you're absolutely right.
Right?
And I've been like that since I was a teenager.
Right. So you're not the girl that's like outside playing kickball and...
No, my mom said sometimes when it was really hot outside, when my friends came to the door, I would say, tell them I'm not here. Because I didn't want to go outside and get sweaty.
Okay. All right, so I'm going somewhere here. So we're talking about consistency because, again, I want to help more people become consistent, but we're talking about changing because someone right now is like, I don't know what's wrong with me. Like, I've been check to check for so long in my life, I think I doubt. I'm afraid to make a promise to myself. Remember, I said consistency, a promise, consistency, a path to trust, which leads to opportunity. Because people now trust you, they open up doors of opportunity for you because they know you can be trusted with whatever you say is going to be done consistently.
Right.
Okay. So you, my darling, went from I'm not going to sweat at all to not only working out, but becoming a fitness instructor. This is a complete transformation.
Right.
So if people only know you from years ago when you're like, I'm not going to sweat, you start working out and they were like, oh, Tracy's working out. You consistently work out to where you actually have classes that you run. So now you know you're going to be there because you're teaching the class. So that's consistency. Mm-hmm. You can be trusted to be there. You made a promise and you were there.
Right.
Your students knew you would show up.
Right.
See what I mean?
Right.
So you went from consistently not working out to consistently working out to consistently having other people trusting you to work out and to help them work out. You tell me. You've been asking me the questions about consistency and put you on the spot. How did you make that? Because look, I want someone to say right now, look, I was talking about check to check, Darnell Self. I was talking about I'm tired of having more bills at the end of the month than I have money. Mm-hmm. It's the same thing. They can take it from finances. So how do I trust myself to go from here to wealthy in 1 year? And even if it's not wealthy, if they made $75,000, they were used to making $20,000. They now have money in investments where they're used to spending all their money. That's what I'm. They used to having all broken relationships, and now they have healthy relationships. So any transformation, they go from this person like, dude, don't mess with him. Never had a healthy relationship. And this person goes from not having healthy relationships to start building some bonds to now teaching other people how to create healthy relationships because they know what it's like to have imperfect relationships and broken relationships. Same thing. I'm just saying fitness right now.
But that's a loaded question because I just made a decision. I didn't want to be that way anymore.
Why?
I'm wondering now, watching everyone around me be healthy and look good and actually enjoy it. And one of the reasons I did was because it was something that you liked. That's why I said it depends on the situation. It depends on the circumstance. It depends on who you're around. But you always went to the gym. You always worked out, and I never did. And I felt like I was missing out on being with you. And I wanted to spend time with you. And as I started doing that, and do you no, seriously, do you remember? I said, I'm going to go with him and work out. And I did it for a minute. And then I wasn't consistent and I stopped.
Yeah.
But you kept going.
Yeah.
And then I started again because I said, he's consistent. I want to be that way. That's why I started. So I don't know if I'm really answering the question.
No, I love it.
That's just my honest answer.
I know. And this is why this podcast, that sounds a little arrogant. I was about to say, this is why this podcast is so good, but I can't really say that because I'm one of the co-hosts.
Well, it's so good for us.
Yes, it's good for me. Let me tell you why. One, I made a decision. Somebody right now is going to say, you know what? Enough is enough. I'm making a decision.
I just decided I wanted to be different.
That's number one. You decided I don't want the old me.
I didn't want to be the girl. I didn't want to be known as the girl who didn't sweat. The girl who didn't want to work out. I just didn't want to be known for that anymore. I don't know. I woke up one day and said, I don't want people to say that about me.
Right.
And sometimes it takes hearing it so many times. And after you hear it 20 times or 100 times, 101, you're like, you know what? That's it. I don't want to hear that again. I'm going to change. And I think for me, I just wanted to be different.
Right.
I wanted to spend time with you. I wanted to make a change.
Yeah. This is good because, the kids, I always tell the kids, there's nothing you can do that caused me to love you less than how I love you and the level that I love you. Like they couldn't do anything. I may be disappointed in an act, but I don't love them any less. Right. So all I'm saying is that when do I stop being consistent at telling them something that I like to see them shift so that they can achieve better results? It could be 101 times. I would never stop. Right. And maybe they'll get it 101. People are like, well, I ain't telling them no more. Well, it depends on how much you love that person unconditionally.
Oh, that's true. It's hard too.
I know.
Yeah.
So that's one. Number two, I'm telling you all the stuff you said. Number two, you said, this fear outweighed that fear. You were more fearful of staying as this person, and that outweighed, because first you were fearful of moving forward, fearful of the sweat. Then the fear of staying the same, or the person you used to be, was outweighed by the fear of moving forward, right? Or the opposite.
That's
right?
That's absolutely right.
So look. So because both can be scary. Moving forward into fitness, you're like, this is not me. This is not what I do. That's scary. The fear of staying the same, that's a little scary because my husband's working out. People around me starting to change. So it's a little scary. I'm the one that's not changing.
Right.
So one fear has to outweigh the other fear. Right? Everything's a little scary because it's unknown. It's like faith and fear. Both unknown. Right? I'm afraid of something that I don't even know.
Right.
Because I don't experience it. I don't do it. I don't work out. So I think I'm afraid of it. So watch this. So number one, you made a decision.
I did.
And it didn't matter how many times you had to be encouraged to make it. You made it. Period. Doesn't matter. People are like, well, I had to tell her 20 times. Who cares? You made it.
Right.
Okay. Two, one fear had to outweigh another. So the fear staying the same was being outweighed. So you decided, you know what? I'm going to move forward.
And three, I realized that I couldn't care what people thought. And I realized that they could still feel or think I was that brand. But if I knew in my heart I wasn't, it didn't matter. Before, I was scared of what people would say, what people would think.
Yeah.
But when I got to a certain point and I was really enjoying it and I felt like I was good at it, I didn't care. If somebody said, it's not going to last, you don't really like to work out, it's fine.
Yeah.
So I think that had a lot to do with it. Once I got to a certain point, I had to let go of what people thought about what I was doing or how I was changing.
Yeah. Yeah. I love this. I love this because you've given yourself an opportunity to say to everybody that you can do it. You can change. And you can't really worry about what everybody else says. I'm just going to be consistent in doing this thing and I can move forward.
And once you decide and you've talked yourself into it, there's no going back.
Yeah.
Because you've told yourself you can do it.
Yeah.
You told yourself you can move on. You've told yourself you can move forward. You've told yourself you can change. So you can do it.
Right. But it was scary, but you did it anyway.
Super scary.
Right. And that's what we're talking about. One fear outweighing the desire or the desire outweighing the fear.
But once I got over being scared, I was all in.
Yeah.
And now I think back and like, well, what was I scared of?
Right. What
was I really scared of?
But look what you
said. But when I was
in
in that place, it was a lot to be scared of.
Yeah.
It was everything to be scared of.
Yeah. This is so good because the last piece you talked about was your associations, right? And so either not caring about those who weren't going to be supportive anyway, but yet getting in the circle of those who were doing what it is you were desiring to do. And that way, that whole communication, it was all about, hey, look, what are we doing next? Let's work out. Where are we going? Like, even when we traveled with workout outfits because we knew we were going to be going to the gym when we were in the islands.
Yes.
Right. So now you're around folks who that's just what you do. Going back to, you brand yourself with that consistency. Everybody knew, oh, we're working out.
So now when we travel, our friends call us and say, how many days are we working out? How many gym outfits do I need to pack?
Yep. Yep.
Because that's the brand.
And you consistently do 2 days on a 7-day trip. All right, guys. And you're consistent, though. You're consistent with your 2. You're like, look, I'm on vacation. 1. Janelle says 1.
No, I usually pack 2, so I'll have a choice of which one.
Hey, guys, another self-talk experience. What do you want to say?
Babe.
Huh?
You consistently make me better.
Hey, guys, this has been another self-talk experience. We appreciate you guys. See you all the next time.
Thank you for listening to the Self-Talk Podcast with Darnell and Tracy Self. We hope you enjoyed. Be sure to rate and review this podcast on your favorite podcast listening platform. And we'll see you next time. And remember, talk good to yourself.
If you've ever started something and said to yourself, I'm not quitting until I reach the finish line, there's a perfect podcast for you. The We Won't Quit podcast by my man, Mike Humes, mailman and millionaire, never gave up. Not only did he have success, but he's helped a ton of other people do the same thing. He's going to be interviewing people who never stopped until they finish. So check it out. We Won't Quit podcast.